গল্প পেবার সাথে কথা Koreanbhai podcast
সালাম আলাইকুম, আমার নাম Koreanbhai। স্টুডেন্ট লাইফের সবচেয়ে কষ্টর সময় যদি মনে করলে অবশ্যই পরীক্ষার আগে, তারপরে পরীক্ষা পাওয়ার পরে সেই রেজাল্ট পেয়ে এটা দিয়ে আমার মা বাবাকে নিয়ে যাওয়ার আগে, সেটা ছিল আমার সবচেয়ে প্রেশার। বাংলাদেশের এডুকেশনের কোর জিনিস সেটা হচ্ছে এসএসসি। অনেক স্টুডেন্টরা প্রত্যেক বছরে ওইটার কারণে মারা যায়, মনে কষ্ট পায় আর কি। তাই আজকে সেটা ওভারকাম করেছে তেমন মানুষ আছে। ওনাকে সেকেন্ড গেস্ট হিসাবে আমাদের পডকাস্টে ইনভাইট করেছে। উনি এখন ইউটিউব চ্যানেল চালায়। প্রথম ভিডিও আপলোড করার পরে 10K ভিউ পেয়েছে। তার মানে অনেক মানুষরা তার মেসেজ হিসাবে এই ফিল করতে পেরেছে যে ও আচ্ছা, সেটা সত্যি। তাই আজকের গেস্ট Edu-tainer, এটা মানে এডুকেটর প্লাস এন্টারটেইনার। আজকে সেকেন্ড গেস্ট সাদ ভাই, পরিচয় করে দিবেন বাংলায়।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আমি সাদ ফ্রম দি Edu-tainer। এটা হচ্ছে আমার ইউটিউব চ্যানেল। আমি হচ্ছে এইচএসসি 24 ব্যাচের স্টুডেন্ট। বর্তমানে আমি চট্টগ্রাম বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ে বিবিএ পার্সিউ করছি। আমার সাবজেক্ট হচ্ছে ম্যানেজমেন্ট। আমার প্যাশন হচ্ছে টিচিং। এই এইচএসসি লাইফটা আর এইচএসসির শেষের দিকে, অ্যাডমিশনের দিকে অনেক অনেক স্ট্রাগল করতে হয়েছে, কারণ আমি খুবই দুর্বল একটা স্টুডেন্ট। আমি মোটেও কখনো পড়াশোনায় তেমন ভালো ছিলাম না। স্ট্রাগলের অনেক শতাংশ, অনেক ভাগ ওয়াজ কজড বাই নট মাই সেলফ বাট বাই দ্য সিস্টেম। আমার মেইন গোল হয়েছে আফটার দিস ইজ টু ট্রাই টু হেল্প আউট এনি স্টুডেন্ট। কোনো ছাত্রছাত্রীদের যদি আমার মতো এরকম এইচএসসি লাইফে বা এডমিশন লাইফে এরকম কষ্ট করতে হয়, এরকম অনেক ডিপ্রেশন থাকে, অ্যাংজাইটি থাকে, ভয় থাকে, আমার কাজ হচ্ছে যে তাদেরকে হেল্প করা। যে তখন থেকে আমার বিগেস্ট প্যাশন দুইটা, একটা হচ্ছে টিচিং, সেকেন্ড হচ্ছে যে ট্রাইং টু হেল্প any students from suffering from the same fate that I did. So that's me. Hi.
আচ্ছা, আপনার একটা কথা শুনলে আমার স্কুল লাইফ মনে পড়লো যে আমিও খুবই খারাপ স্টুডেন্ট ছিল, মানে দুষ্ট ছিল, যে স্বপ্ন ছিল কমেডিয়ান হওয়ার। তাই এটা এক্সকিউজ নিয়ে কখনো পড়াশোনা করিনি। তা আপনারা ইমাজিন করতে পারবে কিনা জানি না, একটা পরীক্ষা দিয়ে 0 পেয়েছে একদিন। ক্লাস 7-এ মিউজিক পরীক্ষা নিয়েছে, 0 পেয়েছে। কিন্তু যারা একটু স্ট্রাগল পেয়েছে জীবনে, তাদের একটু এরকম মানুষদেরকে আরো ভালোভাবে টিচিং করতে পারবে আর কি। আমি দেখলাম যারা এলিট কোর্স দিয়ে এসএসসি ভালো করেছে, ক্লাসরুম থেকে সবসময় নাম্বার 1, এইচএসসিও নাম্বার 1, ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি, তাদেরকে শিখতে গেলে শিখতে পারবে না, কারণ তারা বুঝবে না যে সে যারা পড়াশোনার জন্য খারাপ হয়েছে তাদের মন মেন্টালিটি কিভাবে শেখা সেটা বুঝে না, কারণ ব্রেন ভালো তো। এমনি দেখলে তারা বুঝবে। যারা একটু ফেইলিয়ারে ছিল তাদের কাছে অনেক শেখানোরটা বেশি আছে আর কি। আচ্ছা, তাই আমরা একটু স্মুথ ভাবে একটু জিজ্ঞাসা করি। আমার লাইফের স্কুলের এক্সপিরিয়েন্স আপনাদেরকে শেয়ার করে দিয়েছে। তো আপনার স্কুল এক্সপিরিয়েন্সটা কেমন ছিল, যে স্পেশালি এইচএসসি আপনার পার্সোনাল এক্সপিরিয়েন্স কেমন ছিলেন?
আচ্ছা, প্রথম কথা হচ্ছে যে হ্যাঁ, ভাইয়ার পয়েন্টটা একদম 100% কারেক্ট। ওইটাই একটা কারণ যেটার জন্য আই থিঙ্ক আই উইল বি এ গুড টিচার, কারণ আমি খারাপ স্টুডেন্টও হয়ে আসছি, এখন ভালো স্টুডেন্টও আছি। সো আমি মানে খারাপ স্টুডেন্ট থেকে উঠে আসছি। সো আমি বুঝতে পারি যে খারাপ স্টুডেন্টরা খারাপ কেন আসলে, ওরা কি নিয়ে স্ট্রাগল করে, আর কি কি মানুষ ওদের ভুল বুঝে। রাইট, যারা হচ্ছে যে সব সময় মোটামুটি পড়াশোনা করতো, চর্চা রাখতো, অ্যাবিলিটি ওদের ভালো, তারা জানে যে কেমনে এই ভালো অ্যাবিলিটি রাখতে হয়, বাট তাদের অনেক স্ট্রাগল হয় হচ্ছে যে এই খারাপ স্টুডেন্টদেরকে বুঝার আর তাদের স্ট্রাগলগুলো বুঝার। সো I think we should take lessons from failures more than সাকসেসার্স
হুম,
যারা হচ্ছে সাকসিড করছে সাকসেস ক্যান ইজ অফেন লাক যারা অনেক চেষ্টা করেছে কিন্তু তাও পারে নাই তাদের কথা কিন্তু কেউ শুনতে চায় না বাট তাদের কথাও
হুম,
খুবই খুবই ভ্যালুয়েবল কারণ তাদেরকেই বুঝতে পারবা যে আহ, আগে
হুম,
ভালো ছিল না কেমনে এখান থেকে ভালো হয়ে আসছে আর কি সো ইয়া ভেরি ভেরি গুড পয়েন্ট
হুম,
সো আমার স্কুল লাইফ ছোটবেলা থেকে আমি আমার পড়াশোনায় তেমন মন ছিল না কখনো আমার আর্লিয়েস্ট মেমোরি হচ্ছে যে স্কুলের প্রথম দিন কেন আমি ওখানে গেছি আমি জানি না আম্মু আব্বু আমাকে নিয়ে গেছে আর আমার শুধু মনে আছে যে আমি কান্নাকাটি করতেছিলাম যে আম্মু আমি যাবো না কেন আমাকে এখানে দিছো আমি জানি না So, ওভাবে আমাকে স্কুলে ঢুকাই দিছে আর কি একদম
আচ্ছা,
একদম পিচ্ছি কালে তখন থেকেই আসলে আমি পড়াশোনার জিনিসটা বুঝতে পারি নাই যে এটা কি জন্য দরকার তখন থেকে
হুম,
অনেকের এই বুঝটা আসে যে তারা বুঝতে পারে যে আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে পড়াশোনা নিলে আমার মানে ভালো চাকরি আসবে ভালো ইয়া আসবে এটা সেটা আমি আমি আরো নলেজ বাড়বে আমি আরো বেশি জানতে পারবো আর পড়াশোনা করতেও
হুম,
মজা লাগে আর কি কিন্তু এই রিয়েলাইজেশনটা আসতে আসতে আমার এম্বারেসিংলি অনেক লম্বা একটা সময় লাগছে আমি
হুম,
ক্লাস 9-10-এ উঠে এটা বুঝতে পারি যে আসলে পড়াশোনা কি জন্য করে কেন আমি এই স্কুলে আমাকে মা বাবা ঢুকাই দিছে তো সেই প্লে গ্রুপ থেকে একদম পিচ্চিকাল থেকে ক্লাস 9-10 পর্যন্ত আমি কখনো বুঝতে পারি নাই যে আসলে আমি কেন এই স্কুলে আছি কেন এই পড়াশোনা করতেছি শুধু জানতাম যে
হুম,
আমার মা বাবা চাই যে আমি পড়াশোনা করি আর এটাও জানতাম যে টিচাররা যদি দেখে আমি ভালো মার্কস পাইছি তারা আমাকে প্রশংসা করে অনেক প্রেজ করে অবশ্যই আই ওয়ান্ট প্রেজ সো তাই বললে তো ওইটার জন্য সব পড়াশোনা করতাম বাট আসলে এটা হচ্ছে এক্সট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশন এটা হচ্ছে বাইরে থেকে মোটিভেশন বাট আমার নিজের কখনো
হুম,
মোটিভেশন ছিল না যে আসলে ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশন ছিল না যে কেন পড়াশোনা আসলে করতেছি আমার মাইন্ডে
হুম,
এটা সবসময় একটা গেম হিসেবে মনে হইতো যে ও পড়াশোনা পড়লে মার্কস পাবো না পড়লে মার্কস পাবো না একদম গেমের মতো লাগতো আমার কাছে সো আমি ছোটবেলা থেকে
হুম,
মানে ভিডিও গেম খেলে বড় হয়েছি অনেক অনেক ভিডিও গেম খেলছি এন্ড ওই মেন্টালিটি আমার এই পড়াশোনায় আসছে যে ভিডিও গেম খেলার মেন্টালিটি যে আমি
হুম,
পড়াশোনাকে একটা গেমের মতো করে ট্রিট করছি যে ওকে আমি যদি এই সময়ের মধ্যে এটা শেষ করতে পারি ভালো মার্কস পাবো নাইলে পাবো না ভালো মার্কস পাইলে আই উইন নাইলে আই লুজ দ্যাট ওয়াজ মাই আইডিয়া
হুম।
এসএসসি পর্যন্ত
আমি একটা ইন্টারাপ্ট করলে আহ, আমিও স্কুলে ঢোকানোর পরে এরকম চিন্তা করেছি এই পড়াশোনা করলে কি হবে আমার জীবনের জন্য কি বাড়লো
হুম
আর
হুম হুম
আমার মনে হয় সাধারণত যারা পড়াশোনায় ভালো না তাদের সবসময় এই ওয়াইটা সবসময় মাথায় রেখে থাকি আমি
হুম
কেন করি এটা আর মা বাবাকে বলে সাধারণ মা বাবারা এরকম বলে যে এই কিসের জন্য চিন্তা করতেছে ঘরে গিয়ে পড়াশোনা করো এরকম এরকম করে আপনার মা বাবা এরকম করেছেন কিনা
হ্যাঁ অবশ্যই করেছে মানে ওয়ান অফ দ্য মেইন রিজনস যে একদম প্লে গ্রুপ থেকে 9 পর্যন্ত আমার এই বুঝটা আসে নাই ইজ বিকজ কেউ আমাকে এটা বুঝায় নাই কেউ আমাকে ধরে
হুম
একটা মানে সামনে বসায় বলে নাই যে হ্যাঁ পড়াশোনা হচ্ছে যে এই এই
হুম
কারণে করে আর পড়াশোনা
হুম
নিজেও একটা মজার জিনিস হতে পারে আমি তখন বুঝতামই না আমি মনে
হুম
করছি পড়াশোনার মজা আবার কি দুইটা একসাথে কেমনে যায় পড়াশোনা করবা জাস্ট
হুম
মার্কস নেওয়ার জন্য সামনে চাকরি নেওয়ার জন্য টাকা আর্ন করবা হ্যাপিলি লিভ
হুম
হ্যাপিলি এভার আফটার বাট কেউ এসে আমাকে ধরে বলে নাই যে আচ্ছা এই এই কারণে তোমাদের মা বাবা আমার কাছে পাঠাইছে এই এই কারণে তোমাদের আসলে
হুম
পড়াশোনা করা উচিত ওয়াই উই
হুম
শুড কেয়ার এই রিজনটা কেউ কখনো দেয় নাই আমাকে সো আই ডিডন্ট কেয়ার আই ট্রিটেড ইট অ্যাজ আ গেম
হুম কিন্তু এখন মনে করলে আমি জিমে যাই তারপরে যে ভালো বাদি বানানোর জন্য জিমে গেছে প্রথমে মনে করছে 3 মাস করলে হবে কিন্তু এতে জীবনে হয় না
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
করে গিয়ে এরকম সেক্সি বাদি বানানোর জন্য মিনিমাম 1 বছর লাগবে
ইয়েস
কিন্তু এমন মানুষদেরকে তুমি আজকে থেকে মিষ্টি খাইতে পারবে না যদি এই সেক্সি বাদি বানালে কিন্তু প্রায় 90% 1 বছর বাকি আছে আমি আজকে খাই এরকমই কিন্তু এই ছোট্ট বাচ্চাদেরকে ক্লাস 1 থেকে তোমার 15-20 বছর পরে ভালো চাকরি পাবে এখন স্টাডি করলে। এটা কেমনি সম্ভব? আমরা পরের বছরের জন্য আজকে খেয়ে খাই, পরের বছর সেটা হয়, সেটা আপনি বলছেন যে বাইরে থেকে মোটিভেশন আসে,
এক্সট্রিনসিক
সেটা বাচ্চাদেরকে কিভাবে এটা দিয়ে মোটিভেশন করবে? আমি সাপোর্ট করছে না, একটু ঘুরে আসছে তবু এটা একটু বলতে চাইছে যে আপনি দুইটা মোটিভেশনের জন্য এখন উল্লেখ করেছেন, যে ইনস্ট্রিং মোটিভেশন আর এক্সট্রিং মোটিভেশন, যে বাইরে থেকে আসে আর ভিতর থেকে আসে, সেটা গুরুত্ব।
আসলে এটা নাম্বার ওয়ান জিনিস যেটা প্যারেন্টস আর টিচার্সরা জানা উচিত। তারা একটা স্টুডেন্টকে দেখে আর দেখে যে তারা পড়ায় অমনোযোগী, তারা টিচার বলতেছে তারা শুনতেছে না, তারা ফ্রেন্ডদের সাথে কথা বলতেছে, তারপর সব সময় মার্কস অনেক কম পাচ্ছে, তারা মনে করে যে সে খারাপ ছাত্র, সে বেয়াদব, সে পড়াশোনা করে না, সে চাইলেই সবকিছু করতে পারে কিন্তু সে করে না, সেটা তার দোষ। কিন্তু আসলে স্টুডেন্টের পার্সপেক্টিভ থেকে তার কোনো রিজন নাই এটার ব্যাপারে কেয়ার করার। টিচার বুঝতেছে না যে এত ইম্পর্টেন্ট একটা জিনিস ও কেয়ার কেন করতেছে না, এটা কেমনে না বুঝেও বড় হয়েছে না, কিন্তু স্টুডেন্টের তো কোনো কেয়ার করার রিজন পাই নাই কখনো। টিচার যে কথা বলতেছে লেকচারটা, যেটা যে টপিক নিয়ে, যে সাবজেক্ট নিয়ে, এটার ব্যাপারে কি সে আদৌ কোনো কেয়ার করে? অ্যান্ড আসলে এটা খুবই মেজর একটা ফ্যাক্টর যে আমরা মিস করি। আসলে ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশন তখনই আসে when you actually care about what you're doing। যখন কি কেয়ার না করো, অবশ্যই কেন পড়তে বসবা? I would do anything but পড়াশোনা, রাইট? আমি স্কুল টাইমে আমি আওয়ার গুলো কাউন্ট করতাম, কখন আমি বাসায় আসতে পারবো, কখন গিয়ে আমি ভিডিও গেম খেলতে পারবো। তো প্রতিটা ঘন্টা আমি জাস্ট ওয়েট করতাম। মেইন প্রবলেমটা আসলে বোঝা উচিত বোথ প্যারেন্টস এন্ড টিচার্স। ইটস নট অ্যাবাউট আর দে গুড স্টুডেন্টস অর আর দে ব্যাড স্টুডেন্টস। পড়াশোনা, এডুকেশন ইজ internally very very interesting, learning is very interesting, আর এই ইন্টারেস্টিং জিনিসটা ইন্টারেস্টিং ভাবে এক্সপ্রেস করতে হবে তাদেরকে। যে স্টুডেন্টটা কেয়ার করতেছে না তাকে জিজ্ঞেস করতে হবে, ওকে হোয়াট ডু ইউ কেয়ার অ্যাবাউট, জানতে হবে সেটা। Then they have to connect what they care about with the topic of the porashona. If they can do that, congratulations, the student now cares about porashona. সে নিজে নিজে পড়বে, তোমাকে কিছু বলতেও হবে না। That's the number one thing.
তাহলে আপনার স্কুলের সময় আপনি যে ইনস্ট্রিং মোটিভেশন কি পেয়েছেন?
আমি যা বললাম যে ফর মোস্ট অফ মাই স্কুল লাইফ এই ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশনটা আসলে আসে নাই। আমি জানতামও না যে পড়াশোনা ক্যান বি সামথিং ফান। আই ডিডন্ট নো দ্যাট ওয়াজ পসিবল, যে লার্নিং ক্যান বি সামথিং ফান, যে এটা ভাল লাগা মানে আমার ভালো লাগতে পারে। আমি মনে করছি এটা অলওয়েজ পেইনফুল, এটা মানে নিজেকে জোর করে পড়তে বসতে হয় যাতে তুমি ভালো মার্কস পাও, যাতে তুমি ইন দ্য ফিউচার ভালো চাকরি পাও। বাট আস্তে আস্তে ক্লাস 9-10 পরে, 9-10 হচ্ছে যে করোনা ছিল। আমি যখন 9-10 ছিলাম আমার পুরো 9-10 স্কিপ গেছে, আর আমার করোনা ভাইরাস ছিল। সো স্কুলে তখন গিয়ে জোর করে যাইতে হইতো না। তখনও 9-10 ইউ হ্যাভ 2 years টু স্টাডি ফর এইচএসসি, জাস্ট দিস ওয়ান বোর্ড এক্সাম, সরি এসএসসি, দিস ওয়ান বোর্ড এক্সাম। You have 2 years. আর আমি অবশ্যই এই 2 বছর দেখে আমি মনে করলাম এই 2 বছর ভ্যাকেশন, কিছু স্কুলে যাইতে হবে না, পড়াশোনা করতে হবে না। সো ফর 18 months আমি মনে হয় জাস্ট একদম মজা করছি, মানে ভিডিও গেম খেলছি, মুভি দেখছি, বইও পড়ছি। সো যা করা সম্ভব, যা যা এতদিন করতে পারিনি তখন করছি। কিন্তু তারপরে গিয়ে when there was 3 months left for SSC, তখন গিয়ে মানে একটু হইলেও ভয়টা কাজ করছে যে সামনে তো বড় একটা এক্সাম আসতেছে, আমাকে একটু পড়তে হবে। সো তখন একটু একটু করে পড়তাম। আমি মনে করলাম আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, অ্যাটলিস্ট পাস করি, আমাকে ভালো করতে হবে না, একটু পাস করি। এসএসসির আগে একটা টেস্ট এক্সাম হইতো, আমাকে ওই টেস্ট এক্সামটা পাস করলে এসএসসি এক্সাম দিতে দিবে। সো ওই টেস্ট এক্সামের জন্য আমি পড়াশোনা শুরু করছি। যখন নিজে নিজে পড়াশোনা শুরু করছি, স্কুলের টিচাররা আমাকে পড়াচ্ছে না। বাই দ্য ওয়ে, আমি হচ্ছে যে বই দিয়ে পড়াশোনা করতাম না, আমার টেক্সট বুকস পড়তে আমার অনেক কষ্ট হইতো, আমি ওখান থেকে পড়াশোনা করতে পারতাম না। আমি হচ্ছে ইউটিউবে গিয়ে আমি সার্চ করতাম, বিকজ আমি আজীবন ইউটিউবেই থাকি, আমি এখানে ভিডিও টিডিও দেখি। সো আমি সার্চ করতাম যে এই চ্যাপ্টার এই লেকচারটা আছে নাকি, আছে, ওকে। সো দ্যাটস হাউ আই উড স্টাডি। তখন গিয়ে মনে করলাম ওকে একটা লেকচার দেখলে তো ইট শুডেন্ট বি দ্যাট ডিফিকাল্ট, আমি জাস্ট দিয়ে আমাকে তো পড়তে হবে না, আমি জাস্ট দেখবো কি বলতেছে, আমি জাস্ট দেখবো। সো that was the moment that my intrinsic motivation of watching YouTube, getting entertainment, connected with the extrinsic motivation যে আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে আমি ইউটিউবে এন্টারটেইনমেন্টের জন্য স্পেন্ড করি, হোয়াট ইফ আই স্পেন্ড সাম টাইম অন ইউটিউব ফর লার্নিং। সো ওইটাও আমার হয়তো এন্টারটেইনিং লাগতে পারে। সো ওই আইডিয়ার জন্য আমি ইউটিউবে দেখা যে শুরু করছি, তখন দেখতেছি লেকচার গুলো ওয়ান শট লেকচার্স মানে খুবই খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং লাগতো। কারণ তখন গিয়ে স্কুলে আমি যদি কিছু না আমি অনেক বছর ধরে কোনো কিছু পড়াশোনা করি নাই। সো এখন এই ক্লাস 9 এর পর আমি কিছু বুঝবো না, একদম কিছুই বুঝবো না, স্যার বলতে থাকবে আমি কিছু বুঝবো না। কিন্তু ইউটিউব লেকচার্স আর মেড ইন সাচ আ ওয়ে যে ইফ তোমার যদি কম নলেজও থাকে তুমি যেন বুঝতে পারো। সো তখন ফর দ্য ফার্স্ট টাইম আই কুড অ্যাকচুয়ালি আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড দ্য টপিকস, আর আমি বুঝতে পারছি, আমার মজা লাগতেছে যে ও নতুন একটা জিনিস শিখলাম, আমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইউজ করতে পারতেছি। তখন সায়েন্স খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং লাগা শুরু করছে। তো তখন গিয়ে ওয়ান্স আই স্টার্টেড ওয়াচিং লেকচার্স অন ইউটিউব, আমার ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশনটা গ্রো করা শুরু করছে যে ও পড়াশোনা আসলে মজার হতে পারে, এটা আমি কখনো বুঝার চান্সও ছিল না। তখন থেকে আমার ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশনটা কাজ করা শুরু করছে। ওইটার পর থেকে নিজে নিজে পড়াশোনা করছি। আমি নিজে পড়াশোনা করে হচ্ছে যে এসএসসিটা দিছি। মাই জিপিএ ইজ নট দ্যাট হাই, ইটস 4.5, but that's still pretty good for someone who only studied 3 months নিজে নিজে, যে কিছুই পারতো না। আমি ম্যাথের অ্যালজেব্রার মানে a+b² পারতাম না, আমি বাংলায় একটা সেন্টেন্স উচ্চারণ করতে পারতাম না, আমি হচ্ছে যে ফিজিক্সে কিচ্ছু বুঝতাম না, কেমিস্ট্রি কিছু বুঝতাম না। এরকম সবগুলো না বুঝে আমি গ্রাউন্ড আপ থেকে শিখছি বিকজ ইট ওয়াজ ইন্টারেস্টিং টু মি। সো দ্যাটস দ্য পাওয়ার অফ ইন্ট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশন।
ইউটিউব থেকে যদি আমরা গিয়ে কিছু পড়ার জন্য সার্চ করলে সেটা হলো কেউ আমাকে ফোর্স করে না, আমি খুঁজতেছে কি শিখবো আর খুঁজতেছে কোন লেকচার ভালো হবে। তাই স্কুল থেকে শেখার থেকে যে ইউটিউব অথবা ইন্টারনেট থেকে আমার নিজের মোটিভেশন নিয়ে গেলে আরো শিখতে পারবে, আমি সেভাবে বিশ্বাস করি।
একটা জিনিস আমি মেনশন করতে চাই যে আসলে ইটস নট কমপ্লিটলি স্কুল এন্ড স্কুল টিচার্স ফল্ট, তারা স্টুডেন্টরা অনলাইনে শেখাটা বেটার মনে করে। আসলে দুইটা মিডিয়ামের স্ট্রেংথ আলাদা। অনলাইন মিডিয়ামের স্ট্রেংথ হচ্ছে যে দ্য স্টুডেন্ট ক্যান স্টার্ট অ্যাট এনি অ্যাবিলিটি। তারা যদি ক্লাস 5-এ হয়, they can start from class 1's ability, কোনো সমস্যা নাই, there's that material there. And if they're behind, they don't have to মানে বাকি স্টুডেন্টদের থেকে বা টিচারদের থেকে বকা খেতে হয় না আর কি, যে হ্যাঁ তুমি পারো না কেন, তুমি এত বোকা, এগুলো শিখো নাই, আমি যখন বলছি কিছু শিখো নাই। বাট এই শেমটা ইউটিউবে থাকে না, where you have the freedom to learn by yourself. ইউটিউবের স্ট্রেংথ অর অনলাইন লার্নিং এর স্ট্রেংথ হচ্ছে যে ইউ ক্যান স্টার্ট ফ্রম এনি নলেজ লেভেল। তুমি যদি তোমার ক্লাসের সবকিছু না পারো সমস্যা নেই, তুমি একদম ABCD থেকে শুরু করো, ইট ওয়ন্ট টেক দ্যাট লং, ইট উড টেক 2 months টু ক্যাচ আপ টু ইউর স্কুল ওয়ার্ক। আর একটা হচ্ছে যে দি অ্যাবিলিটি টু পজ অ্যান্ড রিওয়াইন্ড। তুমি কিছু একটা বুঝো নাই, সো তুমি একটু রিওয়াইন্ড করো, আবার দেখো, আবার বুঝো নাই, সমস্যা নাই, আবার দেখো, আবার বুঝো নাই, আবার দেখো। অ্যাকচুয়ালি যদি টিচারকে বারবার বলো যে আমি বুঝি না, আমি বুঝি নাই, স্যার খুবই রেগে যায়, এটাতে খুবই রেগে যায়। অ্যান্ড তো মানে নিজেরও গিল্টি ফিল হয় যে আমার জন্য বাকিরা সবাই মানে কিছু পড়তে পারতেছে না, সো নিজে কখনো এর কোয়েশ্চেনটা আস্ক করে না। দ্যাট প্রবলেম ইজ সলভড অনলাইন। সো তাই বলে মানে অনলাইনে নিজে সেলফ স্টাডি করাটা অনেক মানে বেটার আর কি, স্টুডেন্টস এটার উপর অ্যাট্রাক্টেড হয়।
The school is made for average people, so their targeting of teaching is for average, not for the first student, not for the last student, কিন্তু মোটামুট মানুষদের জন্য আর কি, so they can stop and they can't go too fast. আর যদি টিচার আপনি বলছেন যে তুমি এটা কেন পারো না, এটা কেমন টিচার? I think I should say that's a very worse attitudes. It's just a mechanism for the human being. Whenever people say to someone with negative way, like don't do that, why you can't do it, it just makes people to do that more. So it's always better to use a like positive way of like do that. You're good at it. Encourage them. I think that's more teachers supposed to be, but then it's hard to blame them because they have grown up like that. But still, as a teacher, I think that's the teacher's fault. They're like 10 years or 20 years younger than them, and then they might not know. They might not have an interest. But like, kita keno paro na, stupid bacha. I don't know if they really say that, but yeah. I think that's a bit problem.
I solely believe from the bottom of my heart that there should be no such thing as a bad teacher. It shouldn't exist. Karon teaching, I believe, is the most important profession anywhere, everywhere. Teachers are the people who build your life. They show you how to live, কেমনে লাইফ ন্যাভিগেট করতে হয়, বড় হয়ে কি করবা, কিভাবে চিন্তা করবা, কিভাবে প্রবলেম ট্যাকল করবা, সবকিছুই টিচাররাই শিখায়. So I think like we need to have better standards for teacher, and I think we need to reward teachers better as well. Give them better pay, better social status. আমরা টিচারদেরকে রেসপেক্ট করি না, করা উচিত. If they do a good job, অবশ্যই করা উচিত. Teachers should, like, they have the most important job of a country, because একটা টিচার্স অ্যাবিলিটির উপর ডিপেন্ড করে যে একটা কান্ট্রির স্টুডেন্টসরা কেমন হয়, তারা কান্ট্রিকে কিভাবে শেপ করবে, কিভাবে কান্ট্রির প্রবলেমগুলো ট্যাকল করবে. সো teachers, doctors, these are professions which you have to be really good, and you have to have special skill as a teacher to be like qualified. Ar ki bad teacher bolte kichu exist kora uchit na.
I'm very relate to what you said, and that's what exactly I wanted to talk next. As a foreigner, when I first got Bangladesh thing, I couldn't understand of Bangladesh education was. I mean, like scolding and beating, that was happening in Korea too when I was young. So one of my teachers, he always DDA at classroom ashtoaki. But then the most things I couldn't understand of Bangladesh education was the class teacher do coaching after the class. মানে কোরিয়াতে তা জীবনে হয় না, কারণ I think Korea is more sensitive on being honesty, and then they're more sensitive on fair. So if one of your student is paying after your lecture in school, then of course they want to give something more to their specific student who is paying money for them too. So when they take an exam, they will obviously have an advantage of getting a better marks. So in Korea, it's prohibited. It's kind of like illegal.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I want to discuss about now the coaching culture in Bangladesh. We'll start from school teachers coaching, and then when that expanded, there's a very famous coaching institution, maybe?
Yeah.
Udvash.
Yeah.
You already have a video regarding Udvash. So, yeah, what do you think about school teachers doing coaching in Bangladesh? If I say from my point of view first, because I've been seeing so many news that some student who didn't go for tuitioning with the class teacher, and class teacher didn't give her marks, even she did good. So she had to attempt suicide, something like that. So things, it's not very common, but it's happening in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
The research paper was saying teacher knows that it's bad, but they couldn't say no because salary is too low to survive. So they had to earn money from the personal tuition. I think it's very societally connected to each other, like money and everything is connected. It's bad. People knows it, but there's not practical solution for that.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and it goes back to the point of আমি যা বললাম যে teachers should be the most respected people in the country, and their jobs, they have the most important jobs. Okay, ওরা যদি ওদের job খারাপ ভাবে করে, like you wouldn't trust a surgeon who's bad at their job, so why would you trust a teacher? So teachers expectations ও হাই রাখা দরকার, রিওয়ার্ড ও হাই রাখা দরকার, যে লাইক yes we won't accept anything above a certain level, যে তুমি যদি স্টুডেন্টদেরকে বকাঝকা করো, তুমি যদি সুন্দর করে বুঝাইতে না পারো, even if you're a good professor, even if you're good at your subject, even if you have a PhD, you might not have the ability to explain in an inspiring way or to inspire curiosity among children. So that's okay. That should be a requirement to become a teacher. And then again, ইয়াটাও মানে রিওয়ার্ডটাও ওরা হাই থাকার উচিত, যে they should be paid more, they should be respected more. ওদের রিওয়ার্ড হাই থাকলে তারা হচ্ছে যে তাদের নিজের জবদেরকে আরো গুরুত্ব দিবে, আরো রেসপেক্ট করবে, যে বাট রাইট নাও দে আর জাস্ট সার্ভাইভিং, সো দে উইল ডু এনিথিং টু সার্ভাইভ, দ্য টিচার্স themselves. এই তো আমরা আসলে we can't really point fingers at anyone, and I never want to point fingers. I just want to express how this is a systematic issue. Systematic issues don't usually have one evil person behind it all, right? It's systematic. এখানে স্টুডেন্টদেরও সমস্যা আছে, টিচারদেরও সমস্যা আছে, গভর্নমেন্টের সমস্যা আছে, ইকোনমিক সিচুয়েশনের সমস্যা আছে, সোশ্যাল সিচুয়েশনের সমস্যা আছে, প্যারেন্টসের সমস্যা আছে. So how we solve these problems is by tackling them one at a time. One at a time. Let's just not point fingers, but let's discourage malpractices. আমরা যে প্র্যাকটিসেস গুলো চাচ্ছি না, যেগুলো খারাপ, যেগুলো ক্ষতিকর, ওগুলোকে আমরা ডিসকারেজ করি, শেম করি, রাইট? কামিং ব্যাক টু কোচিং, আমার পার্সপেক্টিভ থেকে কোচিং বাই ইটসেলফ ইজ নট something that's terrible. Idealistically, coaching is supposed to give the student an extra chance. যদি স্টুডেন্ট একটু বেশি পিছায় আছে, it's supposed to give them some extra help to catch up with work and, you know, study a bit more to catch up with their peers, or একটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ড লেভেলে আসা. So that's what coaching they're supposed to help you with. But slowly বাংলাদেশ আসলে এই কোচিংটাকে একটা, instead of looking at this as a way to help students, and instead of looking at it as a way to দুর্বল স্টুডেন্টদেরকে একটু স্ট্রং করার, স্ট্রং স্টুডেন্টদেরকে একদম like top of the class করে ফেলা, to give them a struggle suited to their needs. That's what coaching should be, in my opinion. But unfortunately, Bangladeshi coachings kind of look at it in a different way. They prioritize the business perspective of it. তারা বেশি টাকাকে গুণ দেয়, তারা অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করে নিজেদের, একজন একটা কোচিং অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করে নিজেদেরকে, যে লাইক আমাদের এখানে আসলে আপনার স্টুডেন্ট উইল বি দ্য বেস্ট অফ দ্য বেস্ট. এখন that shouldn't be necessary. You should only aim যারা অলরেডি ক্লাসে ভালো করতেছে তাদেরকে বলতে পারো, ওকে, if you come to us, we will give you extra work so that you can do this extra work and you can be even better at studies. You can top your class if that's what you wish. Or coachings can do like, okay, তুমি এই সাবজেক্টে অনেক দুর্বল, তুমি ক্লাসে কিপ আপ করতে পারছো না, সমস্যা নাই, আমার কোচিং এ আসো, আমি একদম বেসিক গুলো পড়াবো, আমি একদম, তুমি যেগুলো জানো না, তুমি ক্লাস 10-এ আসো বাট ক্লাস 8-9 এর পড়া পারো না, আমি এটা শিখাই দেবো. So it should be a way to help these students become better, but right now it's become a very insidious practice because এটা খুবই বিজনেস ফোকাসড এন্ড মানি ফোকাসড হয়ে গেছে, যে হেই আমার এখানে আসো, আমরা হচ্ছে যে 100টা এক্সাম দেই, আমরা 100টা শিট দেই, উই push your student to the limit so that they become the best of the best. That's the issue. That potentially useful thing that could help students be better than they are, it's being advertised as something that could make the student magically into like a good student and give them great marks. So that's the issue. Most schools can't pay their teachers very much, so they are forced to seek other ways of earning money. So ওরা এরকম কোচিং সেন্টার খুলে ওরা এরকম ব্যাচ পড়ায়, like a batch is like a bunch of a group of students, like around 5 to 10 students or maybe a bit more, যারা এসে they come and learn from the teacher in a separate time from school. They come and learn from the teacher in different sessions. Like from my perspective, এটা আসলে তেমন খারাপ জিনিস না। টিচার হচ্ছে যে স্কুলের পরেও এরকম কোচিং রাখে, they can do that. And imagine you're a student and you really like this one teacher. You really like the way he teaches, you like his way of explaining things, but you're behind on his subject. So you wish you had more time to spend with him. You wish he could give you more time. So তখন it's a perfect solution. স্যারের বাসায় যে কোচিং করবে বা যে ব্যাচ পড়াবে, join his batch and learn from your favorite teacher in person. Have some extra classes with them. That's what coachings are. They're extra classes. We sense it's really good when you look at it like that. But ভাইয়া যেটা বলছেন যে হ্যাঁ, টিচার গুলো যারা যারা কোচিং এ আসে না তাদেরকে খুবই অত ভালো চোখে দেখে না, they tend to be prejudiced against them. তাদেরকে এটা একটা general issue in schools in Bangladesh. I wouldn't say it's only the issues of teachers যারা কোচিং করে. It's a general issue of teachers being prejudiced and টিচাররা অনেক favoritism করে। ওরা সার্টেন স্টুডেন্টদেরকে একটু বেশি ফেভার করে, অন্য স্টুডেন্টদেরকে দেখতেই পারে না। নিজের কোচিং এ আসতেছে না এটার জন্য মার্কস কমাই দিবে, এটা খুবই জঘন্য একটা জিনিস। ইফ ডান ওয়েল, দে ক্যান বি a really wonderful thing that can act as a crutch for the students, as an extra help, যাতে ওরা যে লেভেলে অলরেডি আছে সেই লেভেল থেকে একটু উঠতে পারে। ভাইয়া বলছিলেন যে একটা পপুলার কোচিং সেন্টার্স like উদ্ভাস and ACS এরকম অনেক আছে। Again, আমি particularly কোনো গ্রুপকে বা কোনো particular কোচিং সেন্টারকে I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to say, hey, you're the problem. Udbhash, you're the problem. That's not what I want to say at all. I just want to say that maybe কোচিং সেন্টার্স যে প্রবলেমটা সলভ করার কথা ছিল সেই প্রবলেমটা এখন আর they're not focused on that problem anymore. They are becoming more business focused. They don't care about if their students are doing well. They only care about, are the students coming back to the coaching and are they can I keep them? Will they keep paying money to us? Erkom mindset that's the thing that should be discouraged. That's the thing we should be against. And the famous coaching centers, Udbhash, ACS, অনেক আছে, Retina, এসব, they have very, very good sides to them. And they are very, very useful. I would say Udbhash is like the biggest contributor, the biggest current contributor to free online classes that are good. They have loads of classes on YouTube that's free right now. And they're very good. আমি করছি, আমি নিজে এটা করে করছি, but again, I'm not trying to point fingers, but I just want to say that no matter how good of a job you do, you will never be above criticism. Especially if you have a job like being a teacher, if your job is teaching students, we should be able to criticize you. If you are doing something wrong, no matter how many things you do right, you do 99% of things right. Even if you do 1% of things wrong, we should have the ability to tell you that and hold that against you so that you fix your practices in the future. So borrow coaching centers, for the most part, they are really good. It depends on place to place. Like Udbhash is such a big coaching center brand they have hundreds of branches across the entire country, hundreds. I might say the branch I went to here in my hometown in Chittagong, the branch I went to was good, but then someone else might disagree with me. Oh, this branch in Dhaka is bad. So that's another issue. It's not really Udbhash's. I would say that's not Udbhash's fault itself. It's just mismanagement and problems with that. So yeah, and আমি এটাতে একটু ফোকাস করতে চাই বিকজ এটার জন্য অনেক just because some of the branches are really good and some of the branches are really bad, এটার জন্য একটা serious dichotomy create হয়, একটা divorce create হয়, where the students who go to the good branch with very good teachers, they might say, why are you insulting Udbhash? They're doing a very very good job. মানে how can you, তুমি যে ইনসাল্ট করতেছো তুমি নিশ্চয়ই কিছু বুঝো না. Then again, they don't understand the perspective of যারা হচ্ছে যে ওই ব্রাঞ্চে গেছে, the branch where maybe they don't have as good teachers, or maybe the teachers can teach very well, or other malpractices. So this is like, then they start fighting and it becomes a big deal. I just want people to keep an open mind, not point fingers, but just point out the problem. And then if we point out the problem and spread awareness about it, আমরা একজন একজনকে বলি, আমরা এই প্রবলেম গুলো মানে আমাদের প্যারেন্টস কে, আমাদের ফ্রেন্ডস কে বলি, এটা awareness create করি, অনলাইনে বলি, whatever, that can help discourage that type of behavior. So that's what we should do. Big coaching centers, I don't have a personal issue with them, but ওদের অনেক malpractice থাকতে পারে, যেটা হতে পারে ওরা ভুল করে করছে, that's also possible, but I just want to be able to point it out, and I want everyone to be aware of it, so that we can discourage this type of behavior, so that people don't just defend Udbhash because ওরা ভালো একটা experience পাইছে.
This is the amazing thing about podcasts, because we can share our perspective even though it's different. I agree some part of what you said about teachers coaching and then Udbhash. Let's talk about Udbhash first. So for me, I believe some student, even in a school, we'll find that some students are good. Whenever the teacher giving a same lecture, or some student does good and some student does bad. So there's always the good match between teacher and student, how they teach and how they understand. And if that match with how student learn, it goes well. Maybe for the Udbhash, some student might not be match to be learning from Udbhash, but some people might feel that's very effective. But for teachers coaching, school teacher has got power to evaluate students later on. Depends on their exams, and they are creating a exam paper in school. So I think it's more like kind of morality, because you have to just depends on teachers' morality. If they are not going to say to student that this might come in the exam or something like that, or I'll give you more marks. So I think the system has to support teachers to not have that temptations doing it. So like, since teacher is evaluating, so they're not supposed to doing a coaching, but then I'm agree with the Udbhash or other like different part of the coaching is doing, because someone wants to pay for better marks and someone do that, it's fine. There's nothing like morality things crashing each other. It might be a bit extreme in Korea now. So my brother used to be a teacher. Even in Korea, like one parents comes and then, স্যার আপনি আমাদের বাচ্চাদেরকে দেখাশোনা করার জন্য খুবই ধন্যবাদ, আপনার জন্য ড্রিঙ্কস নিয়ে আসছে, স্প্রাইট অথবা আইসক্রিম নিয়ে আসছে. In Korea, if you get that, you're against the law. So you get a fine and you won't be able to be a teacher. It's that strict. Like, even some of the parents, they put some money on the book, and then I read book and it was really nice. I want you to read, teacher. Thank you so much. And then if you receive that book too, you'll be
Yeah.
you'll be in a trouble later on. So Korea, the system itself is trying to protect that. Some people might say like, I didn't get coaching, that's why I'm getting this mark. This is unequal. So they don't want to hear that from any kind of student, so they just ban it from the school. But then the difference is, as you said, Korea, they pay good money to teachers, so they don't really need to do coaching. So yeah, that's the main thing. And then in Korea as well, something like Upash, there are tons of like academic institution in Korea too, and they earn so much money. I think if the education don't really focus on too much on exam, I don't think we're gonna ever see those kind of institutions. It's all because education is focusing on too much exam, so students wants to, so there's demand and they're just a supplier. And reason why they're getting kept bigger because there's too much demand for getting a good marks from parents or students. So if demand naturally goes down, like, no, it's okay, education is, as you said, it's more like a self-learning, we can learn from it. They might not want to look for a utbash or help, something like that, and it will eventually go down. So yeah, that's what I think.
I agree with your point. To repeat what I said earlier, that coaching should be a crutch for students who are struggling, who they just want to perform better and receive extra help than schools. But right now, খুবই বড় একটা মেন্টালিটি বাংলাদেশি স্টুডেন্টদের স্টুডেন্টদের টিচারদের অ্যান্ড প্যারেন্টসদের যে টিচার মানে হোম টিউটর অর কোচিংস একদম 100% দরকার। লাইক দে থিঙ্ক ইটস আ নেসেসিটি যে এটা ছাড়া my student can't become as good as the other students because everyone else is going to have home tutors and going to coachings. So instead of it becoming something that's voluntary, parents tend to think that it's necessary, and they force their children to go to these coachings and institutions for more learning. And that's what makes it dangerous, because coachings like Udbhash, coachings like any other coaching, they're not supposed to be a one-size-fits-all solution. They're not some magical band-aid that makes you better at learning and education and just magically gives you more marks. But parents want their children to get more marks, and so they kind of force their children to go there, and so that because they think it's necessary, এটা দরকার, এটা ছাড়া my student will fall behind, ওরা পাস করতে পারবে না। And এই mentality একটু dangerous, where they think it's a necessity, and that creates demand, right? And the reason so many coachings can get away with so much malpractice is because there's just simply too much demand. Parents think it's a necessity, so they force their kids to go, and so obviously they can keep getting away with stuff like this.
It might be a bit of off topic, but then when I was running a school, I went to some of the government office to register my school, and then head officer, he asked me some like, under the table money, like bokshish, like আপনি একটু পরে আমার বাসায় আসেন, something like that. So I didn't go for it, but reason why I'm bringing up this because বাংলাদেশের মানুষরা সব জানে সমস্যা হলো corruption বেশি হয়. So I don't think different nations like Korea, Japan, they are better human being. I don't think so. I think it's more like a system how they created. System is more transparent. So, but then in Bangladesh, there are so many things that you can hide it. So even you get it under the table, you're not gonna have any evidence. So that's pretty much things that I wanted to bring into school too, that like make it more transparent so that no one will feel they're getting a like same as other students. Like if I don't hire my teacher, then I'm getting this benefit or not getting this benefit. So I think that system itself is really important. I get it, like there's the good things of coaching from school teacher because they will know better than other teachers from private tutor or something. But I don't truly believe or trust human being when they have chance to do something bad. They'll do it for their benefit. So I think it's better we accept that one and then try to create a system that they don't really think about attempting it. Like no corruptions doesn't has to be only depends on that human being, but like system has to support him not to think about doing corruptions. Yeah, I think it's amazing talk. I never know I will talk about this stuff. So let's go for like online learning and self-learning experience of you. So আপনি বলছেন যে আপনি এত খারাপ স্টুডেন্ট ছিল তারপর you became good student through online learning and self-learning. Maybe in this point, just about studying, what would you gonna recommend for those who are preparing SSC and HSC right now? Because I think after a few months, they're gonna have a test, right? Exam.
Yeah. In
So
June, there will be
they might have
HSC
a
exam.
pressure on them. Yeah. Can you share your learning experience?
এটার ব্যাপারে বলতে হলে I have to add a bit of extra information before I give advice. The extra information is that in this current system, even if you have intrinsic motivation, even if you actually like learning and are curious and want to study yourself, it is really difficult to learn in a healthy manner within this system, the system that we have. Even if you have everything figured out, which most people don't, যে সবকিছু তুমি আসলে পড়াশোনা করতে চাও, you care, you have intrinsic motivation, তোমার পড়তে ভালো লাগে, তাও আসলে পড়াশোনা করাটা অনেক টাফ হয়ে যায়. Like genuinely under this system, if you don't study like a machine, if you don't study 24/7, you are punished, right? And that's a very, very big issue. Like during HSC, I finally understood that I like learning. I was excited to finally learn more advanced topics. I was excited to learn all these things, but আমার তেমন সুযোগ নাই যে পড়াশোনা করার and to enjoy it. Let me explain. Imagine that you are an HSC student. College for you is like 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours. That's on average. If you go somewhere far, then আসা যাওয়া লাগে 1 ঘন্টা extra. So let's say 7 to 8 hours you spend on college. Chances are that দেশে যে স্কুলের টিচারগুলো আছে, কলেজের টিচারগুলো আছে, most of them are not very qualified to be teachers, which goes back to the point I talked about before. Teachers don't have enough respect, they don't have enough pay, and as a result, they're not very qualified, they aren't very good at their jobs, and God forbid they insult you for being bad. That is the worst thing they can do. But এটা খুবই কমন, এটা বাংলাদেশে একদম খুবই common. It's common everywhere. So you do all this work, you spend 8 hours of your day going to college and then sitting and listening to their lectures, and even if you actually want to study, even if you actually want to learn, you'll see that they're not very qualified, they're boring, they can't teach the topics to you in an intuitive way যেভাবে তুমি নিজে বুঝো. They depend on very old school techniques like এই পয়েন্টগুলো মেমোরাইজ করো, আমি যা লিখছি তা দেখো, মুখস্থ করো. Most of the students don't actually learn anything from college, and most of them really hate college. If they had the choice, they would rather not go to college and study at home. But again, parents force their children to go to college, so they're forced to sit for 6 to 8 hours at a place that they don't want to be. So that time of their day is wasted. So most of what I learned during HSC I did not learn from college. I learned by myself, at home, learning by myself. Acha. Even if you somehow get through those 8 hours and come back home, chances are that your parents have set up some home tutors or some coachings for you. Or if you're very unlucky, both of them, you have to go to a coaching and then come back to a home tutor. And eta amra realize kori na how dangerous this is. We are losing 8 hours of time in college alone. I'm assuming college jodi kichu na shikho. Then you come back home and you don't get time to rest. You have to get ready for coaching or sir ashbe. And then ঠিক আছে coaching e jao. So you're even more tired. Coachings generally tend to be more effective than school teachers. If they were 0% effective, nobody would go to them. So they're at least a little effective, a little better than school teachers, but still you are tired and you need rest. And tao tomake, I would say 2 ঘন্টা বসে থাকতে হচ্ছে listening to the lecture. Okay, let's say that helped you. Let's say you actually learned something. Learning does not happen when you're listening to a lecture. Learning actually happens when you are by yourself in complete silence and you're thinking about the lecture. You're thinking about what just went into your head. You're thinking about it over and over and you're trying to solve problems by understanding it. Tumi onek confused hoye aso je what's the topic about? What does this mean? This area of confusion where your brain is confused, it's thinking. That's where the true learning happens. When you're by yourself, alone, in quiet, and you're just thinking about the topics and trying to understand them. So, listening to lectures is not learning. কিন্তু এই যে বাসায় এসে সেলফ স্টাডি করাটা নিজে নিজে যে অ্যাকচুয়ালি যা শিখছো দিনে অ্যাসিমিলেট করাটা অ্যাবজর্ব করা এই চান্সটা কেউ পায় না because like I said 8 hours wasted at college, then they come back, go to a coaching, 2 hours gone, and then they come back, they're very very tired. Maybe you have a teacher as well, you have 2 teachers, so another 2 hours is gone. They have no remaining time to study by themselves. They have no remaining time to process what they just learned from their school, their coaching, their মানে সেই 6 ঘন্টা স্কুল বা কলেজে দিছো, দেন 2 ঘন্টা কোচিং এ দিছো, দেন 2 ঘন্টা আবার স্যারের কাছে দিছো. So that's like what? That's 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours. 12 to 14 hours পড়াশোনা করার পরে how could any child want to study more? How could they have the
exactly,
they have no remaining energy. ওরা কেমনে তখন গিয়ে বলতে পারো যে হ্যাঁ নিজে বসে আর পড়ো? আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, miraculously get the energy to study. What are you going to study? Are you going to study for your coaching? Are you going to study for your college? Are you going to study for your tutor? Because chances are all 3 of them gave you homework. So which one do you do? And then you think you feel very trapped, you feel very claustrophobic. That's exactly how I felt during HSC. আমার আসলে genuinely ইচ্ছা ছিল যে আমি পড়াশোনা করব, আমি শিখবো, but under this situation, under this system where I'm being forced to go here, there and there, like parents ashole they do not believe if you don't have a tutor or if you don't go to a coaching that you can actually do well on HSC. They don't believe that. Like most of the parents in this country, the social situation, they will force you to go. But the thing is, if you do, you're getting no room to actually progress. So it can feel very, very claustrophobic. It can feel like very stressful, very fearful, like you don't have a choice. And that's what happened to me. Ami hocche je
sounds like a jail.
Yeah, it does. Under all this situation, if you feel like you want to protest, you want to tell your parents, say, hey, don't send me to that coaching, it's wasting too much time. Eta bolte ekটু কষ্ট লাগে because you have this fear that they're spending so many resources on you, so you have this pressure to do well. আমাদের পুরো বাংলাদেশের এই এডুকেশন সিস্টেমটা, it's entirely a rat race. Okay, this is a term widely used in the education community. It's a rat race. They are going to schools and coachings and teachers, and they're enduring all of it. They're studying by themselves as well. Since they're doing all of this, I have to do it as well. They feel that pressure. And that's very, very dangerous. So, এই সিচুয়েশনে আমার কিন্তু পড়াশোনা করার আসলে ইচ্ছা ছিল. I wanted to actually spend the time to learn. But after all of this exhausting things, how can you expect me to sit down and actually spend the rest of my time learning? I did not spend the rest of my time learning. I spend them on some pleasurable activity like playing video games or watching a movie or hanging out with friends. And as a result, my whole day was wasted. And then the next day, and you blink and HSC is tomorrow. This is what happens to 90% of students in Bangladesh. And it's absurd. We have to overcome this mentality. Like, even good students who actually want to study, they feel like they can't study unless they're being pushed to the limit, because that's what society expects of them. And that's just not true. That's not true. You don't have to do all these things. Amar first year, HSC duita year ase. My first year was spent in these types of struggles. School college যেতাম, কিছু বুঝতাম না, then বাসায় আসি টিচারের কাছে পড়তাম, কিছু বুঝতাম না, and then আর পড়তে ইচ্ছা করতো না, cause I spent a lot of time studying but I didn't really learn anything. So তখন I just want to relax and I played a video game or something, and then the whole day is basically wasted, because no matter how much you learn, how much your teacher teaches you, you have to come back home, sit by yourself for not that long, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, sit by yourself and actually go over the stuff you actually learned today. If you don't do that, teacher যা শিখাইছে এক কান দিয়ে ঢুকছে আর কান দিয়ে বের হয়ে গেছে, শেষ. Even if you actually learned something, you won't remember it because you didn't give the time to yourself to just sit down and actually remember and retrieve the things you learned that day. So এভাবে most of the students struggle through the entirety of their HSC life, and the worst thing is it's a meaningless struggle, right? It's not a struggle where like, oh, I'm trying to learn but I can't answer the problem, আমি বুঝতে পারতেছি না, so I ask. That's the type of struggle. That's a good struggle. You're trying to attempt a problem, you can't overcome it, so you're asking different people and you're trying to overcome it somehow. But this struggle, jeta most people have to face, most students have to face, this is a meaningless struggle. It's কোনো meaning in it. Time is wasted, and for what? Only have to study 2 to 3 hours per day by yourself. That's it. 2 to 3 hours per day. And 2 to 3 hours পড়ার chance students are generally পায় না. From their entire day, when you subtract the time spent in college, time spent in coaching, time spent in teachers, there is literally no time left to sit by yourself and study. So of course you're going to do bad. Of course you're going to like do worse than your peers and get bad marks, and then you'll wonder that, oh my god, I'm a failure. বাকিরা সবাই সব এগুলো পারতেছে but আমি পারতেছি না. That means I'm a failure. আমি কিছু পাই না. And it's a meaningless struggle. It is absolutely meaningless. You don't have, this is an artificial struggle. You don't have to go to coachings. You don't have to go to, you don't have to have a personal tutor. You can have one of them, which is fine. But students are generally put through so much pressure, and they are given no time to just sit by themselves and learn. Therefore, they don't actually learn. And that's the general situation. That's the general picture. Most students are probably like nodding their head to whatever I just said, because amar ja hoise, most students have it worse. They have it so much worse.
I want to add something on what you said. So students who came back from the school and then they're gonna meet a private tutor and they're not gonna have their own time to do it. It's just my suggestion to the parents who are they want them to be succeed in their life. But me, to bring up the point with the evidence of science, let's say we are eating something and then people need to digest it. So when you're eating knowledge, they have to rethink from their sides, and then they have to make it in their own knowledge. So sometimes they realize it when they're playing sports. Sometimes they realize when they're playing like video games. Sometimes they realize when they're sleeping. So if you don't give a break time for students, they might have a bit of mental problem, because humans are not generated to keep eat. They have to spend the calorie and use it and digest it to survive. So it's same as the brain, how it works. So I really highly recommend parents to make their children to at least do any kind of sports, or even just walking. It's fine. At least 30 minutes in a day. Or if you don't want to lose your children from this HSC, you have to let them to be connect with their friends too, to release the stress, and eventually that will gonna help them to learn something, because that's a way of human digesting. That's kind of my advice to the parents. I know they want them to be succeed, and me been studying about all this psychology science. You have to let your children to move and do something that they are interested, so that they can find the reason of living. Because I think people who are pressing themselves for HSC, thinking their reason for living is HSC. That's what they did for entire their school life, and their parents are only looking for your good HSC marks. So whenever they failed in HSC exam, that's why they try to attempt suicide. If you can let them to explore what's the reason for their life, and that'll be more helpful. And plus, as Edu-tainer said, it's gonna be helpful for students too, because they're gonna learn how to do self-learning. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add it. My one question is, so you have been struggle everything. So if you have all this idea that you have it now, if you can go to the past with all this experience, how were you gonna manage it? And it can be a good advice for HSC students too.
Good point. So far, all I did was just paint a grim picture, and I haven't really provided any solutions. But now I'll try to provide some actual solutions. And so, if I could talk to my past self,
Right.
the first thing I would tell him is that realize how you are spending your day. Okay, first of all, I would tell him to realize that studying can be enjoyable. Okay, that's a very big idea that most students under this system who have all these pressures, they don't really believe in this idea. How could you do so much college, you do so much coaching, you do so like you spend so much time with the teachers, you would have তোমার কোনো ইচ্ছাই থাকবে না পড়াশোনা করার, right? Let alone find it enjoyable. But first thing I want to tell myself is that really believe that when done correctly, learning can be a genuinely enjoyable activity. Like, yes, it's difficult as well. There is difficulty and there's struggle to it. But overall, it's like when you go for a walk or go for a run, or you work out, you lift weights. It feels painful at the moment, but after you go for the run, you feel good. Where you went through this exercise, that you push yourself, it feels really good. And learning is like that. After you finally solve that one question that you've been struggling for so long, that can be enjoyable as well. So I want all the viewers who are watching, who are students themselves, I want to get this in your head. Just if you take one thing from this podcast, it's that learning can genuinely be enjoyable. Don't look at it as something to get through, just কোনো মতে করে যাই যাতে হচ্ছে যে আমি এইচএসসিটা দেই, যে তখন I'll be finally free, তখন I can do whatever I want. Do not think that, because learning itself can be enjoyable. You can find your hobbies during HSC as well. You don't have to sacrifice 2 years of your life to start living. You can start living now. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to tell them. Second thing is, I want you to really diagnose your day. Like, how are you spending your day? And is it actually বুকে হাত রেখে বলো যে আসলেই কি তোমাকে হেল্প করতেছে এটা? Is it actually working for you? So look at your college classes. Ask yourself, are you actually learning something from there? Are you actually making progress? Are you actually enjoying yourself? If the answer to these questions is no, then first of all, I want you to realize that acha, thik ase, college maybe isn't doing much for me. If it's yes, good job. If it's yes, then that's amazing. Go back home and then study by yourself. Continue what you learned from college. For most of you, I'm guessing if college was enough for you, you wouldn't be here listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be struggling in the first place. So I'm guessing college does not work for you. It is very difficult for you and you don't understand anything. You are way behind on studies. SSC te kichu pore nai, class 9 te kichu pore nai, ekhon class 11 e kichu bujhtecho na. And not only that, your teachers are boring, they can't explain anything to you. Your whole time in college is being wasted. So once you've realized that, তখন I want you to ask yourself, okay, what's the best way that I can actually learn and catch up? Do I go to coachings? Do I keep a home tutor? Or do I learn everything online and then have a senior or someone who's knowledgeable tell me what to study, and then I'll study those by myself online? I want you to try all of these methods. That try a coaching, try a personal tutor, and try learning by yourself online. See what works for you. I saw that what worked the best for me was learning by myself, because আমি অনেক পিছায় ছিলাম, আমার নলেজ অনেক খারাপ, আমি অনেক কিছুই গ্যাপ আছে আমার, and therefore I didn't like to learn in college. I didn't like to learn in front of a tutor. I didn't like to learn in coachings either. I found the most useful for me was sitting at home, watching lectures, trying to learn from there. So that's what works for me. I experimented and I figured it out. I want you to honestly experiment as well and try to figure out what works best for you. And আমি বলতে চাই যে no matter what, no matter which method works best for you, you absolutely need to study by yourself. You need 2 to 3 hours time to sit by yourself and then revise what you learned that day. If you don't have this much time in your day, then something is very wrong and you need to come up with a solution. তোমাকে কোনো মতে দিনে 2 থেকে 3 ঘন্টা নিজের জন্য টাইম রাখতে হবে, just for studying. Then I would add have 1 to 2 hours to just yourself, not studying, free time. A free time কথাটা শুনলে like student মানে parents and students and teachers ঘাবড়ে উঠে, like what, free time? এখন HSC সময়, এখন তো পড়া উচিত, কিসের free time? But no matter how much you study, no matter how much you enjoy studying, if you don't have other activities you enjoy, if you don't have other hobbies, you cannot stick with studying for 2 years. HSC পর্যন্ত তুমি যাইতে পারবা না, because it's the same with any type of activity. Even if you enjoy playing video games, you can't keep doing it for weeks and weeks and months. If you enjoy studying, you can't keep doing it for weeks and weeks and months. You need to have different activities that you switch between, stuff that, like other things that bring you joy. Find your hobbies, find your passion, see what you'd like doing, and just do it. গান গাইতে পছন্দ করো, গান গাও। If you like dancing, learn dancing. If you want to learn a new language, learn a new language. If you want to play an instrument, play an instrument. Or if তুমি যদি কিছুই ভাল লাগে না এরকম, just keep some free time to hang out with your friends or watch a movie or listen to music or read a book. Or কোরিয়ান ভাই যেটা বলেছে যে absolutely keep some time for exercise and sports. I myself am not a very big sports person. I like to stay inside mostly, but I do like to go on walks. I 30 minute হাঁটতে যাই. Every 2 days I'll go for a run. I'll put on my shoes and I'll just run for like 30 minutes and just get a good workout, get a good burnout. I enjoy it. Have some movement incorporated in your day. এটা খুবই খুবই important. It's just as important as the actual studying itself. If you prefer studying by yourself, I would suggest you at least have a mentor who can suggest topics for you to study, because self-studying is very difficult under our syllabus. You can't just look at the books and tell, oh, this is on the exam, this is on the exam. It's not that obvious. You actually need someone more educated, more knowledgeable to tell you what actually are in the syllabus. If you're studying by yourself, have a mentor. And that's it. If college is a waste, then just have one tutor or coaching. That's it. Then study by yourself for 2 to 3 hours, and then have like an hour or two for free time where you can do whatever you want. That's the key to success. If যদি দেখতেছো যে এটা করতে পারতেছো না, then I'm sorry, but you have failed like way before the HSC exam. I will tell you now that you will fail. You will burn out and you won't want to study, and you will burn out way before you ever reach the HSC exam. There's one last thing I would tell myself: learning how to learn. Something that we are never ever taught in this country. We are never taught how to actually learn. And the way we are taught to learn from childhood is very, very harmful. খুবই ক্ষতিকর এটা. That's not how you learn. 2 to 3 hours তুমি যে পড়াশোনা করতেছো, how to actually spend those 2 to 3 hours really well. If you don't actually spend that time learning efficiently, then 2 to 3 hours won't be enough for you. So I urge you, take some time off, take a week off or something, and learn. Teach yourself how to actually learn. I am slowly going to upload videos about it soon, how learning best worked for me. But right now, I just want you to look anywhere and just research how to learn, what works best for you. Knowing how to learn and like how not to learn can make the difference between passing and failing. It's a huge difference.
Let me just summarize what I understood is just try to attempt how to learn as much you can, like through the college or whatever, and then you try to find which way is efficient for you, which ways your learning might be efficient for you. And then another one, you were saying you need to have your own hobby, you need to have your own time as well, and you need to have your own time for self-study.
Absolutely, yeah.
So here I just wanted to give a little bit of evidence for what he said. In Bangladesh, when we describe middle class or middle high class, what people think is bashe gari ekta ase, basha se, something like money. But then in Europe, whenever they ask them what's the middle class for, and they say like how many language they can speak and how many hobby they have, how many instruments they can play. So they're more focused on not achieve something money like that, but how much they can enjoy their life. So whatever we do for HSC studying, whatever it is, we are not doing for being a rich. You became a rich, and then if you can enjoy it, there's no point of doing that too. So what he suggested is your student life, it's gonna be continued till you're dead. So it's not like a short running race. It's like a marathon. So if you can live entire life how you have prepared for HSC, then you're okay to live. But I think it's not possible to live like that forever. So you need to find something you enjoy it. You can release your stress. That's very important.
Mhm.
So I just hope the parents watch this. When I was young, my parent wanted me to play piano. So they brought me to piano institution, something like Uposh. I went there. I didn't want it to learn. And it was just painful. I didn't like it. I just wanted to play with my friends.
Mhm.
And then when I turned to like 20, I want to learn how to play piano. And then I asked mom, could you help me to enroll in academic so that I can learn it? And that was most efficient way of how I could run. If you have instinct motivation, I'm not saying the coaching is always bad, but then if students think that's the way to improve themselves, then that time parents can support them. But then before that, don't ever force them to putting into the coaching or something like that. Because when they don't have motivation, it's just, I would say it's just like a violence to your children. It's just very hurting for them, you know. So I hope many of parents will listen to this podcast and then maybe a bit of change of their minds. Yeah. So my point of saying this is I want parents
Mhm.
to not to force their student to do like private tuitioning or something like that. Just wait till they ask you to like, can you hire me some teacher so that I can learn something? If that's not, and just people, every students are doing it, so maybe I should do it. I think that's no. It depends on your motivation. It depends on how you learn. It's also different.
Yeah.
For example, me, how I learned is mostly I go to park and listening to books. I'm just walking, and that's how I learn. Because I have a lack of concentration skills, so I can't sit down more than 40 or 50 minutes by myself. So whatever I want to learn something, I put some information in my head in 40 minutes and I go out for walking. Just walk and think about what I was, learning for 40 minutes. And that actually helps. So now we are gonna talk about your YouTube channel. So
Okay.
just want to know, why did you open a YouTube channel and what's your goal?
Thank you for asking that. Since HSC পর থেকে, this idea I had in my head that slowly became stronger and stronger as time went on. I don't want to sacrifice my time now so that I can enjoy myself later. I want to do something that I kind of like, kind of not like now, so that I can do something I really like later. There's a difference. One of them is like sacrificing your time, your days, your life, because আমরা ধরে নিচ্ছি যে আচ্ছা স্কুলে বলে যে আচ্ছা যখন কলেজে উঠবো I'll be happy, তখন গিয়ে পড়াশোনা কম হবে। যখন কলেজে উঠে ওকে যখন ইউনিভার্সিটি উঠবো I'll be happy, তখন আর এই প্রেশারটা থাকবে না। যখন কলেজ স্টুডেন্টরা বলে ইউনিভার্সিটিতে আমি উঠে যাই কোনো মতে I'll be happy, তখন আর কিছু চিন্তা করতে হবে না। University students think, okay, let me land a job. Please just let me land a job. Then I'll be happy. I won't ask for anything. You're waiting all of this time to be happy. And my philosophy is, why not be happy now? You have the ability to be happy now. Learning doesn't have to be painful. It can genuinely be enjoyable. You can be happy while doing something that's necessary for you. Learning and education, all of these things I believe are necessary for you to grow and learn as a human being. You don't have to sacrifice your life, your time for this. You can be happy, you can be kind of happy now so that you can be really happy later. That's what you should aim to do. This is a philosophy I live by now, and something that I want to teach students. Don't fall into the trap of the rat race. Don't spend your life living how you don't want to live just because somebody else is doing it, just because you think you have to do it. You don't have to do any of these. এটা না করেও পারবা, না করেও শিখতে পারবা, না করেও এইচএসসি তে ভালো করতে পারবা, না করেও যদি এইচএসসি তে ভালো না করো তাও তোমার লাইফ আছে। ইউ হ্যাভ সো মেনি আদার অল্টারনেটিভস ইউ ক্যান ডু। সো এইচএসসি ইজ নট দ্য ফাইনাল, it's not the final say, it's not what decides your worth as a person. Coming to my channel, a little background, আমি ছোটবেলা থেকে হচ্ছে যে আমি ইংলিশ ভার্সনের স্টুডেন্ট। I think most of you will realize with how much English I'm speaking throughout this podcast. I actually didn't learn most of the English from school or college. I learned it from reading books, playing video games, and watching lots of YouTube and movies. Like very little English I actually learned from school and college. But I'm English versioner. Throughout SSC, if you remember, I told you that SSC, the last 3 months of SSC, I sat down and I watched lectures on YouTube to study by myself. That's how I studied. I found that it's a really effective method. It works for me. And I can keep my patience. I can learn that way. But once I got to HSC, SSC তে যে স্ট্র্যাটেজিটা কাজ করছে আমি HSC তেও সেম স্ট্র্যাটেজি করব. I'm going to go to college less. I'm going to learn on YouTube, and then I'm going to learn by myself at home. But তখন দেখছি যে HSC-র ইংলিশ ভার্সনের জন্য কোনো লেকচার নাই. So I was kind of stuck there because that was the only strategy that worked for me, and that's not present anymore. So I had to learn from free Bangla version lectures. তখন AI did not exist yet. I had to translate the words I did not know. I had to translate using Google Translate. And course ki jinish, I put it in the translator. Oh, it's a cell. And then all these things, I had to manually search everything in the translator, and it was painful. I really wished that English version lectures had existed. So after HSC, I felt that I really have this deep-rooted love for learning, which I hadn't realized all my life until then. Amar second year থেকে HSC তে দেওয়ার পর I realized, oh, I really, really like learning. Like this thing that I always sucked at, I was always very bad at, আমি কখনো করতে চাইতাম না, এখন suddenly it's the thing I want to do the most. আমি শিখতে চাই. I want to learn new things. I want to learn about the world. And I had this way of like approaching topics. It's another general philosophy I have, jeta the world is full of life. There's so much beauty in this world that you really have to stop in your tracks, and you have to smell the roses in order to appreciate this beauty. You have to actually stop and then pay attention, and then you'll start to see the beauty in things. Like you listen to a song and it's your favorite song, but if you like stop to listen, like really, really listen and pay attention, you'll notice a lot of things about the song that you haven't noticed before, and it'll make you like the song even more. I have this philosophy towards everything, like learning, watching movies, playing video games, whatever I enjoy doing, I try to find the beauty in it. আমি দেখতে চাই যে আচ্ছা, what is this made of? What's the history behind this? Why should I care about this? How does this apply to real life? I ask myself all these questions, and I just find like very wonderful answers. And that helps me care about the topics more. When it comes to learning, and particularly when it comes to HSC science or just in general education, I have adopted the same mindset. HSC porashuna is it's a bit difficult to enjoy, I would say. Not really. It's just difficult in concepts. There's a lot of difficult concepts, hard to understand concepts, and just generally you'll find it difficult to relate what you're learning to real life applications. So you'll find it very difficult to care about the topics that you're learning. If you knew the real life applications, if that was taught to us, then I think we would have a much easier time caring about the subjects. That's what I like to spend my time doing. I like to spend my time figuring out the its and bits about each topic, figuring out like trying to find all the beauty in it, and um try to see it in a good way, and try to see the good parts of it, to see okay, what's the history behind this, why should I care, এটা কেন important, right? And that's something that helps me learn very, very difficult topics like calculus or thermodynamics or electricity. These are topics that are really difficult, or organic chemistry, very difficult. But I think I have a gift for for figuring out ways to make these topics fun and interesting, and a way to make you care about these topics, okay? Because I myself found those ways to care about them. So then I thought, acha, thik ase, since I have this knack for finding the interesting part in things, such as like the topics you learn, the subjects you learn, if I applied what I knew, and if I could teach that to other people, they might be more interested in learning than they are now. Like আমার আইডিয়া হচ্ছে যে আমি যদি এই বিউটিটা তাদেরকে দেখাইতে পারি, if I can express, like, learning about science makes me very joyful. Like, I have a lot of curiosity and it brings a lot of joy to me. So if I can somehow translate this joy to my students, then I feel like I'll be able to help a lot of people. I'll be able to help a lot of people care about studying, care about learning. তাদেরকে actually care করাইতে পারবো. So that was my goal আর কি. That was my dream যে I'll one day have a school where I can teach all these. তখন থেকে মাথায় আসছে, I really, really want to convince the students in this country that learning and education in general, it can be very enjoyable. It's something I really, really want to convince these students. If I can do that, then I can bring intrinsic motivation within them. Then I can help them not suffer each day as they do currently. The same philosophy with don't wait until 2 to 5 years to start to want to be happy. You should be happy right now. And that's what I want to do for other people. So তখন থেকে the idea was planted there. I wanted to eventually teach the way I see these subjects and topics, to help people see all the beauty in these, to help satiate a student's curiosity. I want to be able to do that, because I believe as a teacher, if you cannot satiate your students' curiosity, if they're curious and তুমি encourage করো না, তুমি উল্টো দমায় রাখো, then you have genuinely committed a great crime. There is no greater crime than killing a student's curiosity. That is one of the worst things you can ever possibly do. So that's what I want to fight against. I want to provide fun lectures, English version lectures for students to follow, because I myself did not have access to any English version lectures. So I want to help other students. I want to make education free. Education should not only belong to those who can afford it. You should have the ability to just come home and then watch a lecture and then study by yourself. But এই ability এখন অনেকের থাকে না, because there aren't many lectures that are suited to our curriculum that's very entertaining and enjoyable. I want to provide that. So that's the first thing that's my first goal with my YouTube channel. I want to provide good English version lectures that's entertaining, enjoyable, and for students of all knowledges, for all difficulties. If তুমি যদি class 5 এরও কিছু না জানো, I'll make sure that you understand. I'll make sure that I start from the very ground up, so that you don't have any issues understanding what I'm saying. That's my second goal with this YouTube channel, is my ultimate goal in life, which is, before I die, this education system that's turning toxic, like more and more toxic year by year, it's becoming such a horrible system to live under, before I die, I just want to change it a little bit. Like before I die, I want to be able to tell myself that I tried my best to change this system that gave me a lot of suffering, to help prevent suffering in the next generation and the next generation. So I want to bring an overall social change in regards to how we see education and how we see learning altogether. This thing of like learning should be enjoyable. That's my number one philosophy that I want to teach students. এতগুলো প্রবলেম হয়েছিল বলছিলাম যে আমার এইচএসসি তে এই সমস্যা, কলেজ ভাল লাগে না, দেন স্যার ভাল লাগে না, আমার পড়ার কোনো সমস্যা নাই. I believe so many other students are going through the same exact issue. So I want to help give them advice as much as possible. Basically pretend that I am giving my past self advice. I want to help students not go through the same struggles that I once did, and help provide mental health advice. I want to help them decide what to do with their lives. I want to help them decide what to do with regards to studying and learning. I want to give them advice. Just make their lives easier with regards to education. So those are my two goals. One is provide free and entertaining and enjoyable education, free on YouTube for everyone to watch. And the second is to provide mental health advice and general advice on how to navigate this extremely toxic environment that is the Bangladesh education system.
When I was hearing your two goals, and then when you explained, and there was some kind of common things that I wanted to share from my philosophical view to eventually to my subscriber later on, but then you brought it. So I wanted to discuss, which is he's my favorite philosopher, whose name is Eric Fromm. In his book, he says people live in two different modes, one's to have and one's to be. Shows Babe Bole, to have is people live and people think they are living because of they have this and that. So amakache gari ase, so I'm successful. So they see themselves as worth or good by what they have. So amakache shundori wife ase, amakache basha ase, amakache gari ase. Eijonno I'm successful. But to be is they're just existing and they're just traveling their life. আপনি আগে বলছেন যে পড়াশোনার উপরে গেমের মতো চিন্তা করে, but for me I think life is like a game. I'm playing game and I'm exploring something new. Someone who is living in two half modes, they're only following extrinsic, like বাইরে থেকে যে motivation আসে সেটার জন্য কাজ করে. But someone who is to be, as what you said, they're trying to focus on what they are experiencing, whatever they see from knowledge. They wanted to see more like focus. গান শোনার সময় someone might think like, okay, this gun মনে হয় বাইরে হয়ে যাবে, টাকা বেশি হতে পারে. But someone might feel every part of the song, instruments, and what does he wants to say to me. So if you have that mode, then you can enjoy more this HSC Bangladesh education over what parents are expecting from student. It's all focused on to have mode. এখন পড়াশোনা না করলে পরে তোমার পাশে সুন্দরী মেয়ে নাই, হ্যাঁ, তোমার কাছে গাড়ি থাকবে না, চাকরি থাকবে না, এই জন্য আজকে পড়াশোনা করতে হবে. But this is not how people can be happy. People has to be living a to be life. I'm existing. That's more than enough. So that's one of the goals for my YouTube channel, to share about this philosophy. And then, as you said, I never said to my subscriber before, but then as you said, I brought it off. Thank you so much. And then যারা এখন parentদেরকে uncle আর auntie-দেরকে একটা advice দিলে, প্রত্যেক মানুষরা they want to have a good body and good looking, and we all know to diet. কম খাইলে পেটা কমে যাবে, but we can't do it. আমরা সব সময় হাই 데이터 হিসাবে দেখলে প্রায় 90% of তো বুড়া মানুষ in Bangladesh they have 이제 무리 আছে আপনারা এইটা দেখবেন এই বাইরে থেকে মোটিভেশন দিয়ে জীবনে কাজ হবে না and don't try to apply this to your children তুমি পড়ে ভালো চাকরি হওয়ার জন্য এখন পড়াশোনা করতে হবে would never work আপনি আজকেও ডাইভার্সিটির কারণে মিষ্টি খাইলে আমার জন্য ভালো না তবু আজকে খাচ্ছেন না তাই আপনাকে একটা অ্যাডভাইস সেটা হলো don't try to use যে বাইরে থেকে যে মোটিভেশন দিয়ে don't try to change children's behavior try to make them to focus into something education that he said education think deeply and from that they can know what they are, who they are. মানে আমি গান শুনছে মনোযোগ দিয়ে শোনার পরে oh I like this kind of songs and I might not like this kind of song. That way the children's and every people we're gonna know who they are. So I think that's education for me. Acha, and then you said you want to care about mental health of students.
Yes.
I think it's a main problem of Bangladesh education for now. I think whatever they have exam system, whatever it is, but we're losing so many students every year, and then I think most of the students are having pressure in their mind for entire their HSC life. So, what do you want to give advice for the mental health?
First of all, I would like to talk about how much of a loser I was HSC সময় যে like আমি এত স্ট্রাগল করছি ঠিক আছে and I genuinely couldn't do anything. I felt so trapped. I already explained যে তোমার কলেজের টাইম ওয়েস্ট হইছে কোচিং এর টাইম ওয়েস্ট হইছে বাসায় এসে পড়তে ইচ্ছা করতেছে না you wasted the whole day and then the next day and then the next day and then the next day and the whole HSC life went by that and you wondered যে আমি কি ভুল করছি am I a bad student আমি কি আসলে আমি বোকা আমি কিছু বুঝি না I'm just worse than everybody here and there's a lot of negative talk when you start to think about these things কিন্তু আসলে আমি হচ্ছে যে এইচএসসি এর পড়ার সময় I failed 3 exams in a row. Like I failed 3 term exams in a row. Like I failed a few subjects and therefore put a grade to fail আসছে আর কি I got good in some subjects. It's not like I failed every subject, but I কয়েকটা subject fail করছি. So overall, they gave me a F grade. So in that sense, I failed 3 terms in a row because একটা টার্মে like 6 months into HSC, I was good at say chemistry and I was good at maths, but I was not good at physics or biology. So I failed in those subjects. Then in the 6 months later, I'm good. I'm kind of good at everything, but I'm not very good at Bangla or English. So then I failed at those. And then third term and so on and so on. It takes time to catch up to them. And I failed 3 terms in a row. প্রথম টার্মটা ফেল করার পরে the college had to call my parents and then like talk with them and then make them sign a contract make them sign a document where the document read that I hereby state and sign that my student will not fail the next term so please forgive his failing for this term so that's they had to sign that the first time I failed and then I failed again and then arekta written sign korai say my student will really not fail the next term please let him pass and then I failed again and then I promise my student will my son will really not fail please let him pass and so after failing so many times after failing so many times HSC এর আগে যে টেস্ট এক্সামটা হয় there's a test exam that basically if you pass the test exam the college will let you sit for HSC if you don't then they literally won't even let you sit for the HSC exam you're not allowed to go you have to restart the year I somehow কোনো মতে আমি পড়াশোনা করছি আমি তখনও আসলে ভালো করে সময় পাই নাই to learn in a healthy way তখন I had to force myself to learn in the way that the system expects of me. আমি কয়েকটা টেস্ট পেপার নিছি and I looked at the questions appeared most frequently and then I wrote those down trying to memorize them, and that's how I learned. এভাবে পড়াশোনা হয় না. That worked for me, ঠিক আছে, it worked in the short term, but I really wish I did not have to do that.
So you mean there is a specific way to get great marks for HSC?
Yes, the HSC exam and later on the admission for universities exams. These exams reward a lot of memorization. How many formulas can you memorize? How many facts can you memorize? How many, if it's this question, have you memorized the answer? If it's this question, have you memorized the answer? And that usually works. If I have to compare it with American education, with British curriculum, what they do is they don't make you memorize the formulas. They provide the formulas at the day of the exam, and they give you a sheet with all the formulas written, or they have a board somewhere in their class with all the formulas written. But in our country, we make the students memorize each and every formula in each and every subject. Now, that is very stupid. Like, that does not help you understand the topic anymore. It just raises more pressure to memorize, have all these things memorized. Like, before a particular exam, let's say a physics exam, you need to have at least 20 to 30 formulas memorized just for one exam. That's just formulas. There's so many other things you need to memorize as well. Facts, information. So I would say, if you brute force the system, you can win. That's how most of the students learn to overcome this struggle. They brute force it. They try to overcome their struggles with sheer will. And yeah, I guess that works. But on the flip side, you lose a lot of your mental sanity and mental health and just general happiness. You sacrifice a lot of happiness when you sacrifice all of this time to just brute force and memorize. It's not enjoyable, and it's just torture, and you're just forced to do this because you have to pass the exam. So that's what I was forced to do. That's how I passed for the test exam. Then HSC came, and I came out with a GPA of 4.58, which is pretty good considering what I struggled with. I should have gotten a 3 point or a 2.0. So I did pretty well, all things considered.
Imagine it's a fail to 4.58. It's a lot of improvement in a short time.
Here's the thing, even if when 4.5 is like the grade that parents think, okay, I can show my face in public. That's the grade that parents think, okay, my student has passed, I don't have to hide behind closed doors. They still expect A plus GPA 5 no matter what, but 4.5 is like the minimum where they accept it. Okay, fine, I can publicly tell people that my son got a 4.5 GPA. Okay, so back to the main topic. I just wanted to tell all the viewers that I am not a good student. Or at least I couldn't properly learn during HSC. But if I could advise myself, I 100% would ace everything, all the tests, everything. We were talking about mental health, and our situation during the first year was really sad. I felt like I was trapped, like I had no choice but to go along and do everything parents tell me to do everything teachers expect of me. আমার আসলে আমার নিজের কোনো ইচ্ছাও ছিল না যে আমি A+ পাবো, বাট আমার ফ্রেন্ডরা এন্ড আমার টিচার এক্সপেক্ট করতো যে A+ পাবো, এন্ড ওরা ওরা খুশি হইতো যদি A+ পাবো। সো ওইটা থেকে একটা এক্সট্রিনসিক মোটিভেশন আসছে যে লাইক, but again, as we discussed, that extrinsic motivation it's not very healthy, and it's not a very good way to live life. Right? That's how I cared
Mm.
about grades. If they did not care, if my parents or my teachers or my student, if my friends did not care about grades, I myself would not care either. I did not care at all. But ওরা
Mm.
কেয়ার করছে, and by effect আমার নিজেরও কেয়ার চলে আসছে. It's just what happens to your brain when people around you behave a certain way. So I really struggled during HSC. My first year, it took me a long time to realize how to study well and effectively. And আমি তিনটা টার্ম ফেল করছি, and it was very frustrating to me because আমি পড়াশোনা করতাম. I actually wanted
Mm.
to learn and I wanted to study, and I actually learned using the books, but no matter what I do, I still failed every single time. So that was a very difficult thing to accept. That made me think that, oh, I must be dumb and I must be a loser and I don't understand these. Most cases, I would say that's not true. You
Mm.
are HSC পড়াশোনা, HSC এর যে level of learning আছে, it's not that difficult at all. It is very enjoyable. It's easy enough. And I think the problem lies where easy topic is presented in a difficult way. That's difficult for students to grasp and understand. And that's one of the goals with my channel. I want to present these topics in an easy way where it
Mm.
feels effortless to learn. It
Mm.
feels effortless to learn new topics, and you feel like you feel confident that you know all these things. But that was not the case for me. I really struggled during my first years, and I cried so much when I realized no matter how much I try, I couldn't progress and I couldn't do better. And it was just, I had to suffer a lot during HSC, and
Mm.
I wouldn't wish that type of mental state on anyone. I really wouldn't. If I could give my past self some advice on what to do, first of all, I would tell them what I told you: the figure out how you spend your days, leave some time
Mm.
for self studying, leave some time for enjoying and like some fun activities or some hobbies, some other things that
Mm.
you enjoy besides studying. Beyond that, I would tell myself যে সবচেয়ে main জিনিস, number one জিনিস, I know what you're going through. I know the struggle you're going through, and it's unfair. এই স্ট্রাগলটা খুবই unfair. It is not a meaningful struggle. What do I mean that it's not a meaningful struggle? It's not a struggle that brings rewards. It's not a struggle that's caused by yourself, and it's not a struggle that you have to get through to have a better life. It's not that type of struggle at all. It's completely meaningless. You don't have to go through all this struggle at all. This is struggle that's artificially created when your
Mm.
parents put so much pressure on you, when society expects you to get a GPA 5, when you are forced to go to college and coaching and have a tutor and then study. It's a meaningless struggle where system and the situation is absurd, and I'm sorry that you're having to go through all of these, but I just want you to know that HSC porashuna or SSC porashuna or wherever you are, the GPA is not everything. Okay, it is useful to have a high GPA, yeah, but if you don't get
Mm.
one, or even if you fail HSC, it's beyond your scope. You tried your hardest, but you still failed. That's okay. That's the number one thing I would tell myself, is that that's okay. You're okay. You are not worthless as a person. A lot my students put their primary worth as a person on their grades and what they get, but I would tell myself in the past that you are not worthless. There are a million different paths you can take if you somehow don't do HSC well. তুমি HSC তে একবার fail করছো, okay fine, try for a second time, try better. If you still fail, okay, try for a third time if you wish, or you can even try something else. This system of education is not the only way to live life. It is not. There's so many other ways you can live life. There's so many other paths you can take. You can teach yourself a skill and learn how to help people with it and learn how to monetize it. You can learn to provide value and then earn earn money using that. You can decide to quit, like if তোমার টাকাও দরকার নেই, just go out in the woods and learn to farm and live by yourself. That's also possible. That's one of many possible futures that you can have. First thing, you need to accept that it's okay to fail. Give yourself the permission to fail, and you will realize that a huge weight will be lifted off your shoulders. If students don't have the fear of failure anymore, if they see failure as a good thing, that failure is just another step to progress, it's just another step to success, then they automatically become better learners, better workers, better thinkers, everything. Give yourself the permission to fail. It's okay. Your life doesn't depend on the grade that you get. And that's the reassurance that I would give myself. Give yourself the opportunity and the permission to fail. It's okay to fail. I failed 3 times and I still made it back. I'm very stubborn when it comes to failure. I'm very optimistic as a person. And whenever I fail, I always go, okay, next time's the charm. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna get it next time. And eventually I did. আমি হচ্ছে 4.5 নিয়ে জিপি নিয়ে বের হইছি, and now I'm studying in a very like well-reputed university of Chittagong University. It's some of your dreams, and it didn't take that much just to accept that I am allowed to fail. Just because you fail does not mean you are a failure. Failing is just another step to success. You detach yourself from your grades. You detach yourself from the idea of success, and you just focus on enjoying the moment. You focus on enjoying the learning process itself. Then you'll start to see that your grades go up really fast. You'll start to see that you catch up. You'll start to see that you are not as dumb as you thought you were. You are much smarter, and your ideas matter, your thoughts matter. All of these, you are valuable as a person. Your value is not based on what grades you get. Once you accept that, you truly accept that, you can really do well. You can really do well in whatever you do. If it's education, it's education. If it's whatever you put your mind to, you'll be great. And that's the advice I would give myself.
Yeah. If I want to comment on what you said, there's nothing that I want to being against, because I agree 100% agree what he's saying. But if I want to just add it a little bit more, then like someone who thinks they are living a failure from HSC or whatever, as he experienced and I experience, everyone has different type of learning skills. The school is only teaching one way of how to study, so it might not match with how you learn. So it's just, you have to keep explore. It's like how to learn how to use yourself. That you have to know yourself first, and then how to touch you, it depends on really you. You have to keep explore of what kind of person you are, and I think that's what teacher has to be. Teacher has to keep explore on the students, how they capture the learning, and they have to know each of students' features, and they have to use a different strategy to teach them. But unfortunately, the Bangladesh education system is not providing that yet. But then, rather than we blaming them, we have to find it and then make you feel comfortable, and that will make you feel comfortable. HSC or SSC, you would see this is a big thing, but then if you graduate and then doing some of your works, you'll find out that's really nothing. It's just a small part of your life. And someone who is not good at HSC or whatever, they could be a millionaire, billionaire. You never know about that. So you don't need to be depressed by the number. I think you just need to find the right direction for your life. So just think that the student life is you can do whatever you want. You can challenge under getting a protect by your parents. So you try to explore and challenge when you are not taking every risk of your life, what you do. And then I think it's the best time for you to find out and don't be afraid of failure. Just keep failing. That will teach you something. You know, whenever you want to try something, the people around you will always not support you. You know, when I was starting my YouTube channel, people were saying, who gonna watch you? Who gonna be curious on you doing something? And then when I got famous, and they just changed their perspective.
Yeah.
So don't trust anyone else. You just try to, whatever it is, whatever outcome it is, you will learn something. I think, we have discussed and covered so much stuff.
Yes.
And this is my final question to you. I want you to answer in one sentence.
Okay.
What does education means to you?
One sentence. Okay.
I'll give you time to think.
Okay, I'll think.
Yeah.
Education is a part of life. It's just
Education is
a
part of life.
It's just a single part. It's not life. It's just a small part of it that lasts you your whole life, but it is still just one part. And
Very deep.
one other thing I meant by this, when I say it's a part of life, I mean that আমাদের যেরকম মেন্টালি থাকে যে এখন গিয়ে আমরা পড়বো যাতে পরে আর না পড়তে হয়। No, learning is forever. Education is forever. And from the moment you're born till the moment you're 6 feet under the earth, you will have to learn. So it is an inescapable part of life.
Good answer. Quite similar to what I thought. I thought education is journey of discovering myself. It's quite similar. We have I think if we can work for anything in future, I think we will have very common things to share.
Yes.
And yeah.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Saad Bhai. So we're gonna conclude our second guest podcast. So this podcast is not only for education. I want to just discuss about anything, and then I want to listen to variety of perspectives, and I want to bring this to kind of different culture in Bangladesh so that they could understand the difference each other. So those who wants to be part of our podcast, there'll be a email in description. You can email me, and then whatever you want to talk about, the topics, then I'm always open to talk about it with you guys. So those who wants to be part of podcast, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching this long podcast today as well. We're gonna see you next time with different episode. আজকের ভিডিও দেখার জন্য ধন্যবাদ। আবার দেখা হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ।
গল্প পেবার সাথে কথা কোরিয়ান ভাই পডকাস্ট।